I sat in my dimly lit apartment, the glow from my computer screen reflecting off my tired eyes. I scrolled through the familiar threads of Reddit, searching for something to distract me from the lingering thoughts of my recent divorce. It had been almost a year since Sarah and I had parted ways, but the wounds still felt fresh. Our marriage had started with so much promise. We had met in college, falling in love over shared late-night study sessions and weekend adventures. I remembered how we used to dream about our future together, imagining a life filled with happiness and mutual respect. But reality had taken a different turn. The beginning of the end had come when I discovered Sarah's Tinder profile. I had stumbled upon it by accident, a chance glimpse at her phone revealing a notification that made my heart sink. Confronting her, I demanded an explanation. Sarah had been defensive at first, then apologetic, insisting that she had only downloaded the app out of curiosity to see if other men found her attractive. She swore she had never acted on it, never met anyone in person. Reluctantly, I believed her, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Trust, once shattered, is not easily rebuilt. The following months were a strain on our relationship. Every time Sarah's phone buzzed, I couldn't help but wonder who was on the other end. The arguments became more frequent, the silences more prolonged. Eventually, we decided to separate. The love we once had buried under layers of suspicion and hurt. Tonight, as I aimlessly browsed the internet, I stumbled upon a familiar username. It was Sarah's, or at least a variation of it. Curiosity piqued, I clicked on it, finding a seemingly inactive account with no recent posts. However, the comments told a different story. There were dozens of posts, all marked as deleted by user, but they had left behind a trail of breadcrumbs in the form of an OnlyFans link. My heart raced as I copied the link and pasted it into the Wayback Machine, a tool that archives web pages. What I found left me breathless. There, preserved in the digital ether, were nude photos and videos of Sarah. The timestamps showed that these had been posted both before and after our divorce. Worse still were the comments she had made on other men's posts, openly expressing her desires and fantasies. A wave of emotions crashed over me: betrayal, anger, sadness. I had believed Sarah when she said Tinder was just a harmless ego boost, a way to see if she was still attractive to others. But this was something else entirely. It wasn't just the explicit content that hurt. It was the deceit, the realization that she had been living a double life while we were together. I closed my laptop, staring blankly at the wall. I felt a strange mix of numbness and pain. I knew Sarah was no longer a part of my life, that our paths had diverged irreparably. Yet, the discovery gnawed at me, reopening old wounds that I had thought were beginning to heal. The next few days were a blur. I went through the motions of my daily routine, but my mind was elsewhere. I replayed moments from our marriage, searching for signs I might have missed. Had there been clues to her secret life that I had overlooked? Every memory was now tainted with doubt. In an effort to make sense of my feelings, I turned to writing. I poured my thoughts onto paper, hoping to find some clarity. As I wrote, I began to see patterns in our relationship, recognizing the subtle ways we had drifted apart even before the Tinder incident. I realized that Sarah's actions, while hurtful, were a symptom of deeper issues, her own insecurities and our mutual failure to communicate openly. Writing became a form of therapy for me. I started a blog, sharing my experiences and reflections on love, trust, and betrayal. To my surprise, my posts resonated with others who had gone through similar experiences. Readers shared their stories, offering support and understanding. Through this virtual community, I began to heal. Months passed, and I found myself thinking less about Sarah. The pain of her betrayal was still there, but it no longer consumed me. I focused on rebuilding my life, pursuing hobbies I had neglected and strengthening friendships that had faded during our marriage. I even began to date again, cautiously opening my heart to new possibilities. One evening, as I was responding to comments on my latest blog post, I received a message from Sarah. It was brief, just a few lines apologizing for everything she had put me through. She admitted to her actions, explaining that she had been struggling with her self-esteem and seeking validation in the wrong places. She didn't ask for forgiveness, only understanding. I read the message several times before replying. I told her that while her actions had hurt me deeply, I was starting to understand the reasons behind them. I wished her well and hoped she would find a healthier way to cope with her insecurities. It wasn't a reconciliation, but it was a step towards closure. As I sent the message, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I knew that healing was a journey, one that I was still on, but I was moving forward. The scars of my past would always be a part of me, but they no longer defined me. I had learned to trust again, not just others, but myself. And in that trust, I found the strength to face whatever the future held. Life continued, as it always does. I poured myself into my work and hobbies, finding joy in the simple things. I traveled to places I had always wanted to see, met new people, and slowly, the memories of Sarah and our tumultuous relationship began to fade. Then, one day, I met someone new. Her name was Emily, and she was unlike anyone I had ever met. We connected on a level that I hadn't thought possible after everything I had been through. She was kind, understanding, and patient. She listened to my story without judgment and shared her own experiences with honesty and vulnerability. Our relationship grew steadily, built on a foundation of trust and mutual respect. I found myself opening up to her in ways I hadn't with anyone else. We talked about our fears and dreams, our pasts and futures. With Emily, I felt a sense of peace and security that I hadn't known in years. Looking back, I realized that my journey through pain and betrayal had led me to this point. It had taught me valuable lessons about myself and what I wanted in a partner. It had shown me the importance of trust, communication, and self-worth. As Emily and I continued to build our life together, I felt grateful for the path that had brought us together. It hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. I had come out of the darkness stronger, more resilient, and ready to embrace the future with an open heart. In the end, I learned that life is full of unexpected twists and turns. Sometimes, the things that hurt us the most can lead to the greatest growth and transformation. And as I looked into Emily's eyes, I knew that I was exactly where I was meant to be.